Dr. Abdul Magood Dardery, and I've again had the privilege of working with him in Chattanooga, and he's been a guest on my radio show. He's a member, was a member of the Egyptian parliament, democratically elected, and well, he's here today because partly he's not really welcome in his home country, but we will welcome him here this evening. So, Dr. Dardery.
What I had to do, as an academician, I believe in activist academia. I don't believe in recycling academia. My understanding, if teaching does not change people, it is useless teaching. So what I did, I teach in the English department. And I wanted to teach things that matter. I was living under Mubarak regime. So I started looking for novels and the plays that can help me deliver my message. And you can imagine, I started teaching a novel called Animal Farm. Because that meant a lot for me. That meant a lot so that I can tell the students in Egypt that remember that what we're living in, and I was able to deliver all what I wanted to say. And I started looking for other plays like An Enemy of the People, a place that talks about false democracy. I was frustrated in 2010. I couldn't take it anymore. After supervising the election that took place during the last election that took place under Mubarak, we never enjoyed fair and free election. It was fake election. And when this happened, I said enough is enough. I have to go back to the States and teach. Fortunately, when I came here just a few weeks after Mubarak won election by 97% of the votes, people revolted against him, brought Mubarak, not Mubarak regime. Mubarak himself brought him down, and the regime needed to be brought down. Unfortunately, the democratic process that was planning to reform the regime of Mubarak, reform the police, the military, the judiciary, the state officials, all the system itself was full of corruption, full of bribery. Unfortunately, the forces of the old regime could not take it, could not take transparency, accountability, so they decided to end the democratic process. And look at what they did. They kidnapped an elected president. They killed thousands. Nowadays, there are more than 41,000 men and women and the children are in the jails. And you know, it's just not just a number. You know, when the father is in jail or the mother is in jail, you know what does it mean for the rest of the family? What does it mean for the children when they cannot find their father at the beginning of the school year or at the beginning of any particular thing in their life? Then it is a tragedy that more than 40,000 Egyptians are in jail now. When we went to the streets, we went for four things. Yes, Rab'a, explanation is what was explained before, but Rab'a also can mean something else. It can mean the ideals of the Egyptian revolution in 2011, January 25th, because it meant economic progress, it meant freedom, social justice, and the human dignity. That's what we stood up as an Egyptian. But let me share with you, since we're talking about foreign relations, my experience as a member of the Foreign Relations Committee of the Egyptian Parliament. When I joined that particular committee, because I am, and I will always be optimistic about building relationships, building bridges of understanding between Egypt and the rest of the world, so that we get to know one another, so that we can work with one another. So I joined the Foreign Relations Committee. To my surprise, we did not find any archives of the previous committees. And I was shocked. Where is the history of the Foreign Relations Committee? They told us that the Foreign Relations Committee did not meet. And why is that? Because it was all taken in the hands of President Mubarak. The dictator Mubarak always took care of the foreign affairs. There were no archives. I had a meeting with the foreign minister in the Egyptian parliament, and I asked them this question: has the Egyptian revolution reached the foreign ministry or not yet? He was angry. He couldn't even take the question. I used to travel to different countries and visit different embassies. The ambassadors, Egyptian ambassadors, unfortunately, because Egyptians are not well respected in their countries, also outside of their countries they're not respected. The ambassadors did not really care. They're not serving the Egyptian people. They're serving the state. They're serving a minority. And that takes us to a history. We've had two systems in Egypt. One called foreign colonialism, the other one called local colonialism. The foreign colonialism, you remember at the end of 1800s when the French lost the war in Pennsylvania against the British. So the French decided to go and punish the British. What did they do? They occupied Egypt so that they can cut the road of the British trade towards India. From that time on, our foreign policy came to be decided by foreign colonialism. After the French, the British, and after the British, thanks to the American aid, the foreign policy of Egypt is decided somewhere in Washington, D.C. We, in the Egyptian revolution of 2011, we decided to put an end to this. We called for two things: mutual understanding and mutual respect. I remember when I was sent to visit the White House as the head of a delegation to build a mutual understanding, and I was sharing this with the gentleman in charge of the Middle East relation. He was an advisor to President Obama. When I told him that, remember, there is a change in Egypt now. You're not dealing with Mubarak anymore. You're dealing with an elected president. An elected president means transparent. He's going to be held accountable for whatever he does. He didn't seem to like what I said, because he was not prepared to deal with peers as if we're equal. And I remember I had similar experience in the European Parliament when I demanded mutual understanding. That's all what we want: mutual understanding and mutual respect, so that we can build better relations. It was not welcome. I remember a statement last time I was here in Georgia, made by this gentleman, Brian. I still remember it, when he said, we used to ask if those people are ready for democracy. And now at that time he wanted to change the question. Are we as Americans ready for their democracy? That was the real question. Thank you, Brian. Hopefully you remember that. Because what Sisi did, he kidnapped the president so that he becomes the president. He killed thousands so that he remains in power. He's imprisoning thousands now and creating a state of fear so that he continues in power. That should be rejected. I would like to conclude by two messages. The first message is to the Egyptian community, to my brothers and my sisters, Egyptian Americans. Please, learn from the American experience. From the beginning of it, from the middle of it, and from nowadays. Remember what Americans said at the very beginning: give me liberty or give me death. That's a fact. We cannot afford living as slaves in Egypt anymore, or anywhere in the Arab or Muslim world. In fact, anywhere on the face of the earth. We as human beings need to be able to help one another. I do not care what religion you have, what color you have, what culture you have, what language you speak, but you have the same rights. As Medea said, we're all human beings and we all have the same rights. I call upon the Egyptian American community, learn from the beauty of democracy, the justice we enjoy, the fact that we can come here, no police stops us, no one is going to go after us after we're done, hopefully.
Yeah.
It is a good democracy, let me be honest with you, especially when I speak of it from a comparative perspective. I would like to tell the Egyptian community, you can lead the change in Egypt. You cannot support Sisi when you're living in a democracy. You cannot support a killer. When you're enjoying the freedom you are enjoying here, Egyptian community has a major role to play, and please act on it so that we're faithful and loyal to the ideals of this culture. My second message is to the larger American community. It is the same message. Please, for the sake of humanity, protect your own democracy and your own civil liberties. Never let the few control your future. And last thing to say, please insist on having the foreign policy of your country reflect your own ideals. You're great people. You deserve better than this. May God bless you all, and may God protect us all and help the people of Egypt. Thank you.